Welcome to the True Blue Riffcast, the number one RiffTrax podcast in the world.
The whole world?
The entirety of the world, Dave.
Okay.
I am Jeremy, and I am joined, as always, by...
I'm Dave. You already heard me interrupt once, so yes. There we go.
Yes.
I'm
We're
going to do
back
that a lot
again.
tonight. Interrupt a lot.
Considering what we've got to talk about tonight, I don't really blame you.
Oh, yeah, man. It's definitely going to be something because RiffTrax just had a new release called Robo Vampire. Now, I had heard of this movie before, and a lot of this podcast is going to center around just how, we'll get to it when we get there. We got other stuff to talk about first, but yeah, that's pretty much where all this is going.
It's gonna be a weird
Yeah.
one, because we also have Christmas Circus with Whizzo the Clown.
Whizzo.
The winner of our patron poll, which you can find over on Patreon at patreon.com/trueblueriffcast, where you can sign up to be one of our patrons for as little as $2 a month, and you can give a little support to us here at the show, and you can vote on things like which VOD we're going to talk about. You can get some outtakes, behind-the-scenes stuff, all of those goodies, just for tossing a few dollars a month our way.
Yes, and I even had a couple of private moments with the patrons myself right before we started. So if you guys are a patron, all three of you, go back and listen to. Jeremy's gonna grab those clips of me having those private moments with the patrons.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you'll be pleasantly pleased. Pleasantly pleased. That's a thing now. Pleasantly pleased.
Pleasantly pleased. Yeah, so we've got a lot to talk about with those two movies, and we do have a little bit to talk about with our headlines today. So let's jump right into that.
Headlines.
Well, sad news out of TV land today. We lost a couple big names. None bigger than the giant yellow bird on Sesame Street. That's right. Carol Spinney has passed away at the age of 85.
Wow, that's
He was the voice of Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch since the beginning of Sesame Street all the way through 2018 for 50 years.
That's crazy. Was he also the puppeteer?
He was the puppeteer up until 2015 when he had to step back from that because I can't remember the name of it, but he had a disease that would make him have uncontrollable muscle contractions.
Oh, that's terrible.
So he had to stop doing the puppeteering. And his understudy stepped in to do the puppeteering, but he was still providing the voices.
No, that's good. That's good. Well, I mean, he was also Oscar the Grouch.
Yep, Oscar the Grouch, who started out orange and became green. And in an interview a few years ago, Carol said that Oscar would still be orange if he actually washed the mold out of his fur.
Is that? That's great.
And then also, we lost everyone's favorite shapeshifter, Odo, from Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, well, Rene Auberjonois. That's that really is too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and another good actor. He was. So we might over here in the Pluto house, we might have to watch Follow That Bird.
Yeah, I like Follow That Bird. Yeah.
In remembrance.
That's one of my favorite. That's actually one of the very first. I have a distinct memory of seeing in the theater. I don't think I've seen it since, but I remember seeing it in the theater. One of the memories I do have about that movie, also, other than actually, I do remember two things. I think does Big Bird turn blue in that movie?
Yeah, the blue bird of happiness.
Okay, yeah, that's weird. And also Chevy Chase mispronouncing Sesame Street, saying Sesame Street.
Yeah, there was a lot of big name people in that movie. John Candy, of course, Chevy Chase, Dave Thomas, Waylon Jennings. A lot of people in there. Yeah, I mean it's a fun little kids movie, good for the whole family. 1985, so most of the people out there probably haven't even heard of it. Most of the people that are online. Oh
Really?
yeah, people, online people, yeah,
Oh, okay.
because they're all younger than us,
I was
Dave.
about to say, I'm like, do you remember when we were the young people? Remember that? Remember like 20 years ago?
Slightly.
Yeah.
20 years ago, you mean in the year 2000?
Oh, oh God. Oh,
Because that's coming up quick.
sure is. In 9 days, I turned
Oh man.
39. Not 40 yet.
Woo!
Not hashtag not 40 yet. Screw everybody.
Before we get into our Mandalorian spoiler chat, let's take a quick look at the weekend box office. Of course, the number one movie once again, Frozen 2, taking in a little over $34.5 million, bringing the total U.S. gross up to $337.5 million
Is that a lot?
in 3 weeks, and it's pretty decent. Knives Out at number 2, Ford versus Ferrari at number 3, Queen and Slim at number 4, and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood at number 5.
Why isn't that number one?
Because Frozen, I don't know. Let's jump into our wonderful spoiler talk of The Mandalorian, episode 5, The Gunslinger. Thanks. This episode, Dave and I kind of talked a little bit about this before we started recording.
Yeah.
It's not amazing, not as good as the previous 4 episodes of the
No,
series so far.
not really. Jeremy thinks it's okay. I have a little bit
Yeah,
stronger feelings about it, but we'll get into it.
I thought it was fine. It wasn't the best, and they definitely had some issues with things. It felt more in line with Return of the Jedi, Star Wars, and in as much as some of the dialogue and things that were definitely geared more towards the younger viewers in
Yeah,
this.
this one is definitely. I think I'll give it that much. This is definitely written for the kiddies. Anyway, well, okay, let's talk about the episode itself before I kind of like. I don't want to be too
Yeah,
negative about it, but I think there are a couple of things that need to be said about it if we're being completely honest.
yeah.
But let's get into it first. Yeah.
So the Mandalorian episode 5 opens with the Mandalorian flying his ship, and he's in a dogfight. This guy is trying to take him
With
in to the guild, and he's shooting at him, telling him to hand himself over to him, and I can take you in warm or I can take you in cold. It's your choice.
yeah.
And then the Mandalorian slammed on his brakes, and the other guy flew right past him in a very Top Gun maneuver. And he's like, "That's my
And it
line."
crippled his ship in the yeah.
And then he blew the guy up. And then, but his ship was already damaged, and he was leaking fuel, and he needed to make an emergency landing on the closest planet, which is one that we all
Oh my
know
gosh!
and love from Star Wars. You landed on Tatooine. He actually landed at Mos Eisley.
The thing is that we've talked about how they pull kind of from like all over. They had at Mos Eisley they pulled from both A New Hope and from Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
We had the Larry Moe and Curly Bots. Yeah,
yeah, the pit droids, and we actually take a trip into the cantina,
yeah. The cantina,
which was
which
interesting.
is like, and it's like completely empty. Like there's not like he walks in. It's obviously what it is. Like they rebuilt the set, or like I can't imagine it's a standing set. It's like it's not like a location that exists in space. So they obviously had to rebuild it or recreate it. Probably recreate it.
Yeah.
But
On the way in, he passed all of these pikes with stormtrooper helmets on
yeah, that
them.
was creepy.
Yeah, and he goes in. It's mostly empty. There's a handful of creatures in there. Droids running the bar, which is funny because
Yeah.
droids were not allowed into the bar in A New Hope.
Yeah, those are the droids from Return of the Jedi, from Jabba's palace, from like that 3PO talked to. Yeah, he was running the bar now.
And he asks the droid at the bar if there's any jobs that he can do, because he needs money to repair his ship. After he did leave.
He can't just point a gun. He can't just point it. Yeah.
He left Baby Yoda there and locked him into a little compartment. And of course, Baby Yoda, gets out.
Being this is the Baby Yoda show. Yeah.
Yeah, and he meets up with this other bounty hunter, this guy who's trying to get into the guild.
This guy who wants to be Han Solo so bad.
Yeah, he's even sitting in Han Solo's seat.
Yeah, the infamous. Yeah.
Where he shot Greedo. McClunky! It would have been nice if there was a little bit of a scorch mark on the wall behind him, but
Yeah, that would have been hilarious. Mando is talking to this dude, this not Han Solo guy, and he's not Han Solo's kind of a wuss to be like, yeah, now I have to get into the bounty hunter guild. Will you help me, please? Right? So he'd be like, okay, well, we'll go ahead and we'll cross the Dune Sea or whatever it is that we're doing. And so they get stopped by or they don't get stopped. They get cornered by some sand people. And Mando does some sign language, trades some binoculars for passage across the desert.
Yeah, because they're trying to find this dangerous assassin who used to work for crime families like the Hutts.
Mm-hmm.
Played by Ming-Na Wen,
mm-hmm.
who was another big name that they brought into the show,
mm-hmm.
and we'll get to the fate of everything in a second.
Yeah.
But they get passage from the Sand People, and they find a dewback dragging this guy,
mm-hmm.
and the Mandalorian runs to go check to see if it's their target, and once he runs over there, she's off in the mountain, the little mountainous rocky area off in the distance with a sniper rifle, and she shoots him. Luckily, he's got his Beskar steel, so it just kind of knocks him over, and he runs back to the sand dune where they were hiding and gets shot again. And he's okay though, thanks to his awesome set of armor that he got.
It seems like he would gotten cooked alive in that stuff when he got shot.
Yeah, if you're just running around on Tatooine, honestly, I mean, unless he's got like a personal air conditioner unit built into the thing.
It looks like it was winter there. It didn't seem like it was too unbearably hot. Maybe it's like December there.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Who knows? Yeah. So they decide to wait for nightfall, and then they rush her at night, and they have these flares that they're shooting off to blind her scope, and they end up getting the drop on her. Kind of. They do take her into custody, and they only have one speeder bike left at this point because she shot the one the Mandalorian was riding, and so they have to go find the dewback, and the Mandalorian tells this young guy to go do it, and he's like, nah, I'm not going to leave you here with this bounty.
This is my bounty, the one that you found, and that I have been a big whiny brat this whole episode about, but now I'm calling the shots.
Even though he said time and time again he doesn't want the money for it, he just wants the reputation. And they argue about this in front of her. Mando says, all right, fine, I'll go do it. He goes off to get the dewback. And then she convinces the guy that the Mandalorian is worth way more to the guild, and if he took him in, he'd be a legend.
A legend.
So he's like, oh, that's a good idea. And so she gets up and holds her cuffed hands out to him, like, all right, let me out and I'll help you. And he just blasts her.
Just murders her.
Yeah, so she's dead.
Yeah, she's there's no way she survived that. She got shot at point blank range.
And so the dude jumps on the speeder and takes off, and Mando comes back and sees she's dead and the guy's gone. So he rides the dewback all the way back to Mos Eisley, which had to have taken forever.
It had to take like 3 days.
And he gets there, and this young bounty hunter has the mechanic and Baby Yoda as hostages,
Uh-huh.
and Mandalorian shoots him, kills him,
Yeah. Hmm.
and takes the money that he had on him to give to the mechanic. And she's like, "Yeah, that covers everything." And he's like, "All right, bye." And he just kind of pieces out
Yeah.
off of Tatooine. And then we see Ming-Na Wen's body one last time, and a mysterious figure walks up, and all we see is the feet and the bottom of a cape.
And
And then
then
you kind of see him start to crouch down, and then
dong
that's it.
da dong da dong da dong.
So, of course, everybody instantly jumps to, it's Boba Fett, because Boba Fett was in the Sarlacc pit. They're on Tatooine where the Sarlacc pit is, and he got his way out, and then it's Boba Fett.
I don't think so. I think two Boba Fett's would get incredibly
I
confusing.
think it's Giancarlo Esposito. I hope I said his name right. His character, Moff Gideon. Uh, that's probably who that was,
AKA
honestly.
Gus Fring, for those of you guys who don't know who that actor is.
Yeah.
From Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Now, this was the shortest episode of The Mandalorian. Coming in at a mere 35 minutes long. Most of them have been around 40, so it's still right around there, but it was a little bit shorter. And yeah, it was definitely, the writing was definitely weaker in this one.
Yeah, I would have to say that the dialogue, especially from the mechanic, she is by far my least favorite Mandalorian character so far, because it's like everything she says is just like you could, like, I don't even know. It seems like it was like, "Hey, thanks for wrecking my roof," and, "Oh, hey, little baby Yoda, would you like something to eat? I'm going to charge the bounty hunter extra for taking care of you,"
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. It's just like, oh no. It's just like they went back to this iconic place, and it doesn't seem like they did much with it.
Yeah, not really. I mean, this was the first time we saw Tatooine since Return of the Jedi.
Up, up, up,
I
up.
mean, in the order,
Yeah,
this was the first story that takes place in Star Wars canon after Return of the Jedi.
yeah. Chronologically, yeah, because
Yeah,
because we haven't been back there in the sequel trilogy yet.
right. And we find out that the guild no longer operates on Tatooine, probably because the Jabba the Hutt got murked.
Uh-huh.
So, that probably put an end to that. Yeah, we don't really see too much about Tatooine, and what we do see looks exactly the same as when it was there before.
Except for Mos Eisley and now a freaking ghost town.
Yeah. But they do talk about some of the other little landmarks, if you want to call it that.
Mos Espa.
They bring up Womp Rats and Beggar's Canyon.
They mentioned Mos Espa, which is the town from the Phantom Menace.
It was okay. It was fine. It was a watchable episode.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, so that was that's this week's Mandalorian. Not much happened.
Yeah.
But now we get to move on to something where a whole lot of stuff happens, even if you can't really understand what any of it is. And that's this week's brand new VOD release from RiffTrax, Robo Vampire, a movie from 1987 brought to you by
Philmark.
Yeah, Philmark and Godfrey Ho, the same guy who brought us Honor and Glory.
What?
Yeah.
You're joking.
Yep. Nope, same director.
To hell with that old bastard.
But yeah, Robo Vampire is infamous in bad movie circles. This has actually been a long-standing request for RiffTrax. They've been having people ask them to do this for a very, very, very long time. And now it's finally here, and everybody can see what the fuss is all about. and you can watch it and not understand a single thing that's going on. Most of that is because this was actually 2 movies edited together into one. Um, this movie, we're going to try and explain it as best we can.
I don't know why we're gonna do that, but I guess we are because it's like an impossible task.
It's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the description from TV tropes because I could not find a Wikipedia article.
Well, why would there be one?
A Taoist priest and his army of Jiangshi, which are the Chinese hopping vampires,
Yeah.
are hired by a drug lord to protect his smuggling operation from a group of commandos.
Say that again.
Like,
I need you to say that again.
a drug lord, a Taoist priest, and his army of Jiangshi are hired. I hope I'm saying that right. Chinese vampires are hired by a drug lord to protect his smuggling operation from a group of commandos. Soon the priest awakens a powerful vampire beast, which was literally a guy dressed up like one of the Chinese vampires, but he had a gorilla mask on. A ghost, a lady ghost shows up
Lady
and
Ghost.
yells at the priest for doing it. I knew you were going to do that as soon as I said it.
Lady Ghost. Okay.
The ghost and the person that he turned into the vampire beast were lovers when they were alive, but they were forbidden from marrying, so they committed suicide so they could be together in death. But then he brought it back as a vampire beast so they couldn't even be together in death. But then she's like, no, I'm going to stay with him and I might as well help you. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna wear a shirt either.
Yeah, she's got like this really thin on, and you can see through it. Yeah.
Nips out.
This movie has the most
There's no other way to say it.
has the most nipples out of any movie that we've had since probably Treasure of the Amazon. Probably more so than Treasure of the Amazon.
What about The Room?
More than The Room. This has more nipples than The Room.
That's true.
Which is a weird sentence to say.
Yes, there's more nipples than The Room.
That's the fact. This movie has more nipples than The Room. So this commando gets killed, and they turn him into a cyborg.
Yeah. Yeah, like what? And they basically turned him into Rotor.
Yeah, it's a guy wearing like silver fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look anything like an actual robot suit.
No.
There is no continuity in this movie. There is
isn't.
Nothing really even regarding a plot in this movie because so much happens and it's just random. Like there's a part where the robot, who is not a vampire, is walking along the beach looking for these drug people. Like these flames come up and then he sinks in the sand, and then he climbs out of the sand, and then some of the Chinese hopping vampires climb out of the sand, and he defeats them, and then the drug dealers, the smugglers, are off to the side, and they pull out a rocket launcher and they blow him up. They blow up the robot. The next scene, they got the robot on a table, and they're like, "Oh, he just short-circuited."
No. We saw him explode. He did not short-circuit.
He blew to pieces. But that's the kind of continuity we get with this movie.
Yeah, it's and then okay, not for nothing. At some point in this movie, it cuts to this couple in, I think, like it cuts this to this couple somewhere in either Japan or China or one of the, or wherever the hell it is they shot this thing.
Yeah.
And they're arguing about like, oh, what's the matter, baby? Oh, I'm mad at you because you're a cop. Well, you knew I was a cop when you married me. It's like, I didn't know how dangerous it would be, and as long as you're being a cop, we can't be together. Oh, let's make up, baby. Okay, right? And then it cuts away again. And it's like, well, I'm glad we had that scene with these two people. That
I think that was the guy who died and got turned into the robot.
But they come back.
Those people come back?
Yeah, they come back.
Then it's not.
They come back.
Was that the same people?
I think so.
I thought those were different people.
I think it's the same people.
Oh,
And then they'll be like, okay, oh, I'm waiting. And then to come back, I'm waiting to get kissed. And the robot guy just comes up and just blows that other guy away.
yeah. I don't know what. This movie is too damn confusing. There's just so much. There's so much going on, but nothing happens. Like,
We need to get Sean or Connor to come on to the show and explain this to us.
but yeah, Robo Vampire is weird. It's messed up. It's definitely not one really for you to turn on with your kids around. I know most of the time for RiffTrax, they try and keep them as close to PG-13 as possible.
And they try to Gorilla Graham stuff, but that doesn't always
This
work.
wasn't a live show. This was a VOD. This one is definitely rated R, folks. Don't watch this with your kids.
And if it didn't have a whole bunch of nipples in it, it would definitely be rated R for how stupid it is.
Not for the gore, because the whatever gore's in there is fake as crap.
Yeah, no, just no, don't let your kids watch this. It's gonna make them stupid. Okay, just don't do it.
But it's I recommend it. I definitely recommend watching this. Go buy it and watch it, and you'll be confused and you'll laugh a lot. And then there's good jokes in there too from RiffTrax.
Oh yeah, there's like so many callbacks in this one that it's like hey what do you got in the bag, a shark or something, out of my way. That was really good.
Let's move on now to something that you can watch with your kids, even though you probably still don't want to.
Your kids aren't going to want to watch this.
No. Talking about Christmas Circus with Whizzo the Clown. Which is one of the most bumblingest, I don't know if that's a word, I don't think it's a word, but this guy's a bumbler. He's a big time bumbler. And he's very scatterbrained. Now, for those of you who didn't grow up in the middle of our country in Kansas and Missouri, Frank Wizziardi was
that is his name,
a
Wizziardi,
a clown in a family circus in the 30s until the Depression hit. Then he joined the army during World War II, basically. And then in 1953, he started the Whizzo the Clown show,
which actually was kind of a successful. Like I've met people on Facebook who watched Whizzo the Clown growing up. I mean, they're old now, but I mean,
yeah. Well, he was on the air from 1954 until 1987.
Yeah, he was like the Mr. Rogers of Kansas City. That's what he's known for. Yeah, that's what people call him. He's the Mr. Rogers of Kansas City. That's a real thing. Go ahead. It's on Wikipedia. Look it up. I'm gonna put that on there right now. He's the Mr. Rogers of Kansas City.
This one might be weirder to explain than Robo Vampire. Whizzo is expecting. He comes in with all these presents to start, and he's like dropping packages, and one's on a string, and they keep pulling it off of the pile of boxes, and he keeps, oh, now I got that to worry about.
Yeah.
And eventually the children show up, and he goes through what I'm sure is his normal shtick.
The children don't want to be there, by the way.
Oh no,
they don't. No, the children are the children. This is like a Fun and Balloon Land situation where the children are being held against their will.
Yeah, they end up going to see Santa.
Oh, you mean when he's not rescuing kids' parents from terrorists in Africa?
Yeah,
that's Santa.
Yeah, or conquering the Martians.
So they flew all the way to Lapland or the fifth dimension. Was Merlin there?
No, Merlin was not a part of
Let's
this.
just go through all. Let's just go through all the Santa stuff. Was he at Pirates World?
Lupita. Pitch the Devil.
Yes.
I think Pitch was there. I think Pitch was wearing a Whizzo suit.
I need you tonight.
This film is quite insane. Like, you watch it and you're trying to figure out if it's actually happening or if you're having some sort of weird fever dream.
No, it's happening.
It's definitely happening. Now, the best thing that came out of this If you go to YouTube
Oh, yes, this.
and you go to Mike Nelson's YouTube channel.
Yeah, his personal YouTube channel, which I really hope that he goes and labels this not for children to just so it doesn't get taken down for COPPA. But anyway,
He reads the transcript from this show just like normal.
just completely deadpan, completely deadpan. It takes him like 35 minutes, and it's one of the best things you'll ever. If you weren't going to bring this up, I'm glad you did, because if you weren't going to bring it up, I was going to, because it's fantastic.
I will put the link to this video in the description of this episode so everybody can listen to it. And I implore you to listen to this video because it is amazing.
It's like, oh yeah,
It is so good because all of the ums and the uhs and the stammering and all of that stuff, he's got it there.
and also the my own robot, my lady. So I guess you and I will work it out.
Trying to understand what is going on with Whizzo the Clown is an exercise in futility, folks. Don't do it. Don't try and watch this and actually understand it, especially if you're an adult.
Okay, but it does have a fun short at the beginning of it with these Christmas trees.
Oh my God! Yes,
You remember that?
the French Christmas trees
with the human faces and the
with
mustaches.
the human faces.
They die and go to Christmas tree hell.
Yes, all of the trees die, and they all like show up in the stars or whatever stupid French thing.
Stupid French thing.
Stupid French thing. It is. I cannot even imagine having to watch that like in school or whatever over in France. Like that would be torture, man. I mean, it goes right along with all the ennui, but
It is the same place that brought us I Believe in Santa Claus.
Thank you. That proves my point right there. Now, I will say, if you haven't seen this one, you can go. It is up on Tubi TV, on the Tubi app. And I made an interesting discovery the other day, and I think I sent you a message about this, Dave. But I went through and I counted the current number of RiffTrax movies available on Tubi.
Yeah, isn't it like 125?
Yeah, it's up to, it was 125 at last count, and that was just like a week
That is
ago.
a lot. And that's the thing. They got to be VODs.
Yeah, they're all VODs. But this one is on there. It is free. It does have ads, so they are still getting something out of this. If you do have Amazon Prime, you can go right now and watch Christmas Circus with Whizzo the Clown. The Rift VOD is available with your Amazon Prime membership. So if you don't own it, and I know things are a little tight right now because it's the Christmas season, and welcome back from the edit, folks.
He didn't really even say anything offensive.
No, but
he
I'm not
gonna cover his tracks.
I need to cover my tracks on that one.
I actually say offensive stuff. I actually say offensive stuff when we do that. He didn't even say anything offensive.
I was thinking something bad, and I almost said it, but I stopped myself. Anyway.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty good.
You do have a couple options to watch this legally, which is something we really like to stress here. Watching them legally for free. It can be done. And, with 125 titles on Tubi, which is on Roku and Amazon Fire TV and Android, so you can Chromecast it and all that stuff. You can watch it on your desktop or your laptop or whatever.
Yeah.
It's there. It's free. It's legal. If you're broke like me and you want to watch it, there you go. There's your options. So don't feel bad for ripping the guys off. Everybody at RiffTrax.
I agree with what
their entire 15 or 16 person organization. If you like a little extra insanity with your Christmas spirit,
and who doesn't?
Sometimes that's the only way you can make it through the season, Dave. On that note, I think we're gonna bring things to an end today. Our patron poll, since we're getting close to Christmas, is going to be limited just to the two previous losers, Jack Frost and Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny.
I am so surprised Ice Cream Bunny hasn't won something yet.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd say that that's probably what we're gonna get next week.
Yeah.
Is Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny. And we will have a lot to say about that one
Oh
because
yeah.
they've done two completely different versions of this movie.
It's very much like The Room. It's that important to RiffTrax. But Jack Frost is also, don't let us sway your opinion if you're patrons, But I do have a feeling if I know at least two of the patrons, and I do have a feeling that we're gonna get the ice cream bunny.
Yeah, probably. But like Dave said, it's very important to the history of RiffTrax, and there is a lot to go over with that. But yeah, so Ice Cream Bunny, Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, and Jack Frost are going to be your choices. Those will be up on Thursday of this week. So December 13th, that will be available on the Patreon at patreon.com/trueblueriffcast. If you're not already a member there, you can go sign up. Until then, I am Jeremy. You can find me at pbandawesome.com. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at pbandawesome. You can send me emails, jeremy at trueblueriffcast.com. And you can follow the podcast on Twitter at tbriffcast.
And I'm Dave, aka Sugar Ray Dodge. Check me out on the web at sugarraydodge.com. Send me emails at dave@trueblueriffcast.com.
We will see you guys next time on the True Blue Riffcast.
Rock till you die.